The following program is an Animal House radio production.
It has been confirmed February the 6th, 2009. The star of the hit MTV show The Hills, Lauren Conrad, will be on the program live.
Exciting.
Talking about her dog, Chloe. And
I don't watch the show, but for people...
I don't watch the show either, but you know what? This show is so good that after the show is done, they have an after show where people go crazy and go nuts and go on their webcams and call up and say, oh, she should dump him, she should do that. Oh, it is like, imagine Days of Our Lives.
Like a cult.
It is, but imagine Days of Our Lives, or one of the soap operas. I watch Days. Let's get that out of the way. I do. Okay. Now imagine Days of Our Lives at the end of the show, if they had a half an hour... If they had...
Swing the mic
around.
There
you go. Even Joe's laughing. If they had a half an hour after party show every single day. The Hills is one of the most popular shows ever on MTV. Taking over my Headbanger Metal section, which, you know, I'm really not too pleased about that. But The Hills is huge. And
she's going to be here.
Yeah. She decided that if there was anywhere in Canada she was going to be, it was going to be between Dr. Mike and Aaron.
Well done.
On Animal House Radio.
Let's go to a break.
We're going to take a break. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes. The show is brought to you by Hills Pet Nutrition, the makers of Science Diet and Prescription Pet Diet Food, and our good friends at Toronto Animal Services, 416-338-PAWS and www.toronto.ca/animal services. Back on Animal House Radio. Jaw 6010 AM, Voices Latinas, 951 Rogers Cable, www.animalhouseradio.com, 416-785-0680. Tomorrow we're interviewing the Toronto Raptors. CB4, Chris Bosch. Our good friend Ryan is coming down to take some pictures.
That'd be great.
Oh,
we'll load it up on the site.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
It's going to be wonderful. Back to the topic at hand, senior pets. I want to ask you a little bit about diseases.
Okay.
Now, this is obviously when the dog or a cat gets older. What are some of the diseases that come out?
Well, I made a list of sort of my top 10 for dogs and my top 10 for cats. And as I read them, I'll tell you what's kind of interesting about them. So for dogs, Cushing's a very common disease. We'll go into detail on some of those at another time. Diabetes, arthritis, which Aaron and I talked about, dental disease, obesity, which we talked about as well. A condition called pancreatitis. We get a lot of incontinence in female dogs. Mitral valve disease, which is a type of heart disease, and, of course, the common one that we see in a lot of older dogs, and that is cancers. Now, the interesting thing about most of these guys is a lot of them, most people just looking at their dog won't notice a lot of these diseases just on their own. Yeah, with the diabetes, they're going to notice they might be drinking a lot, but I'm amazed at how many people bring their dogs and their cats in with diabetes and think, oh, I thought it was just the summer, or, you know, there's always they never attribute it to the disease. They always think it's something else. Same thing with arthritis. I think people just assume that their dog's getting stiff with age, and that's just a normal change. And it is, but we can, anyway. I mean, dental disease, the only thing I find people notice, they don't notice how bad the teeth are, they just notice how bad their dog's breath is. But heart disease, a lot of these things, cancers, go undetected. Cats. What do we see a lot in cats? Hyperthyroidism is probably the number one disease that I see in clinical practice. And the second one is chronic kidney disease. And we see diabetes in cats. We see hypertension in cats, believe it or not. There's a disease that I've seen a lot lately in male cats, and that's a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and it's a heart disease. It's really scary because you don't know they have it until they're sometimes extremely sick. And kitty cats, of course, today I saw two very common senior diseases in two senior cats. I had a constipated cat come in today, and I had a cat with pancreatitis. And what's cool about pancreatitis is there's a brand new test that literally came out within the last 3 months to diagnose feline pancreatitis. And what's cool about this cat that I diagnosed with pancreatitis today is that this cat previously was diagnosed with pancreatitis on a biopsy. We had to biopsy the cat to find out.
Wow.
Can you imagine you have to open up a cat to find this disease out, and now it's just a simple blood test.
Simple
enough.
Oh.
So there you go. And the problem is a lot of these guys just show signs that are what most people think, oh, it's just the dog getting older or just the cat getting older. And so I thought I would talk about some of the clinical signs that you should look for, that if you see them in your older cat and older dog, you should bring them in right away. And here we go. Stiffness, bad breath, If you see any sudden deafness or sudden blindness in your dog, the biggest ones are change in appetite or change in thirst. Those are things that I think a lot of people take for granted. But if you're noticing your cat's eating more, for instance, that could be a sign of hyperthyroidism. It's really cool. These cats, their metabolism goes crazy. They have a disease, and yet they're eating more, running around more. So people think, wow, this is great. Look at my 12-year-old cat's running around like a crazy horse. Same thing with diabetes. I call it the feel-good disease because dogs are drinking more, they're eating more. Same thing with cats. And most people think when their 12-year-old cat and dog starts to eat a lot more and drink a lot more that, hey, they're doing great. They never used to eat this much. So sometimes, these signs can sort of play havoc on our brains and make us think that our actual animal's doing all right, when in fact they're really not. Neat, eh?
The feel-good disease. I didn't think there was such a term. Hey, Johnny, you got the feel-good disease. Oh, sweet.
Well, they just don't look sick. They really don't. I mean, I see a lot of early diabetic cats and dogs. They look fine. I mean, look at them.
Well, look
fine.
at Romeo. The guy probably has Cushing's.
Right, and he looks great. And, so a lot of these dogs come in, and people are saying, yeah, I'm noticing this, but they think it's normal. A normal aging change.
Just be proactive and everything will be good.
So the proactive thing is, what do? We test their blood every year. I think every dog over the age of 8 and every cat over the age of 10 should have their blood tested every year. Do what's called a wellness test.
I did that.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a great thing to do. I think if you have really older animals, they should be seen twice a year. I mean, if you think about the 7-year-old concept with a dog, you wouldn't go to your doctor every 7 years. You might go every 3 years. I think we should go every year. But if you brought your dog in every 6 months, or your aged cat in every 6 months, that would be a good thing, just to make sure that they're not sick.
This is a great, this is a great topic, and I really like this. I really enjoy it, and hopefully we can continue on next week about this too.
Excellent. So, what do you got planned? Pet peeve. Let's talk about your pet peeve.
We do have a pet peeve, and
you have one. Good. I don't know what it is. I'm excited.
I haven't prepared for it, but it's just a natural one.
Okay.
Where's my pet peeve music? The following Animal House radio segment is not Dr. Mike approved. Listener discretion is advised.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Click, click, boom. I'm coming to stereo.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Aaron's pet peeve. It's been over a month and a half, but you know what? You can take the pet peeve off the air, but you can't take the pet peeve out of Aaron.
For sure.
Whatever that means. My pet peeve this week is the pit bull ban. You know what? I had nothing to do the other day, which was very rare. So instead of turning on the TV and watching, and I went on YouTube and I watched an interview I had with Dalton McGuinty, the Premier of the province of Ontario. And you know what? I do not buy into any of this political be something, okay? Let me just tell you one thing. The pit bull ban, does it make sense? No. Let me ask you, I've been in Toronto for just over 5 years. I've seen people get shot. Well, actually, I haven't seen it. People have been shot. People have been murdered. Jane Kariba was shot dead on Boxing Day. There was someone just shot in the subway yesterday. Yeah. And all that they can do in this province is legislate a law banning a dog because 3 or 4 or 5 people were hurt by a dog of one specific breed. Why don't you ban bullets? Let's go ahead. Imagine the law. Hey, Premier McGuinty, let's ban bullets. Don't ban guns, but ban bullets. Or make a bullet $10,000. You know what? If you make a bullet $10,000, I bet you're going to think twice about who you shoot. Because that's a lot of money per killing somebody. Guaranteed. I ain't going to kill someone for $10,000. And if I do, it's going to be an important person.
Now, you've been to my clinic a lot. Have you ever been, you've seen a few pit bulls in my practice, have you not?
Yes.
Next time I have one in, I'll show you.
You know what? And I have seen, I have seen pit bulls that I'm scared of, and then I walk away with my dog. The point that I'm trying to make with the whole analogy of the bullet is that you're taking away, there's two things, right? A pit bull is not necessarily bad. It's only bad when it is put into the mix with a bad owner. It's the same thing with a gun. If you have a gun that's unloaded, you can't do anything with it. If you have a gun with a bullet, then you can do something with it, right?
Yeah.
So my point is that we have irresponsible owners and we have good dogs.
Right.
Now, what turns a dog bad is something irresponsible as an owner. And this could happen to any type of breed, regardless of pit bulls.
That's the thing. Is you can have bad pit. And
you can have bad chihuahuas.
You can have a genetically born bad pit bull where even the owner does something right. But you can also have I've seen genetically bad golden retrievers where they were literally born mean.